very, very happy to say and welcome all of you to the 24th meet and greet. That's right, 24th. We've been here for the last 24 months on the second Sunday, and from a small meetup of a few people, we have grown to what we are today. And I have only all of you to thank for it. And when I say 24th, it's our second anniversary, and we've come a long way. And today we have a very, very, very special show for all of you. And before I move on any further, we have a raffle draw at the end for some vouchers from Tsemach Automotive for your detailing. If any of you haven't filled out your name on a piece of paper and if you have not met Namesh and Adil to give that to, please do so now. Otherwise, you will miss out. Yeah, that's Namesh over there, and he can help you out. So, without any further ado, first and foremost, I'd like to welcome one of my good friends, as well as, we've known each other a long time, and I'm very happy to say Limitless has a racing team because of him and his company, Mr. Ayesh Wickremasinghe from Tsemach Global Automotive, who will speak to you a lot about detailing your car. Ayesh, please. First of all, welcome to the meet and greet, Ayesh.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So Ayesh, he brought this beautiful Aston Martin, and a few words on both these cars. Both the cars you see behind me, there are only 3 of them on the island. There are only 3 DB11s with a V8, and there are only 3 TMEs. And that's what makes each of them special. Remember. So Ayesh, first of all, what would you like to speak about? I'd like to hear a little bit about you from your the special components you have, and also I know you have a lot of knowledge in detailing a car. So the floor is yours.
Well, basically, this is also one of the cars that we've detailed. It was brand new, but then again, with prep work that comes importing vehicles, you do find a little bit of water spots and swirls and scratches due to improper wiping and washing. So we've basically not done polishing on this because it's brand new paint and we didn't want to touch it with a buffer. So what we've actually gone ahead and done for the Aston Martin today is we have a product called Black Light from Chemical Guys. What it basically does is it's got filler properties. So minor swirls and scratches, you can basically fill it up and make it invisible. And of course, it has a 6 months protection, and it's hydrophobic, which means it's water repellent and dirt repellent. And it does give you a high shine. As you can see, even with gloomy weather, it gives you the gloss it needs to show. So that's how we prepped up the Aston Martin.
Right, I see. Also, Ayesh, during my chats with you, you've spoken to us about paint correction. Now, obviously, I'm sure this car doesn't need it, but there are those of us who owned a car for a couple of years, and as you run in this country, you end up with dirt flecks and stone damage, chip damage. Tell us more about paint correction. That's a very interesting thing.
As a detailer, I wouldn't recommend what you call cut and polish in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Is what paint correction basically is.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend it unless it's highly necessary.
Right.
If the paint's been having a lot of bleaching, and of course, like you rightfully said, in this country there's a lot of contamination, so it needs a massive amount of maintenance weekly. But that doesn't mean that you actually need paint correction if you do follow the right techniques of washing your car and of course wiping and application of waxes.
Right.
If you do maintain that properly, you can minimize paint correction to a great extent. Why I do not recommend paint correction, if at all, if a car needs, I would say once in 10 years. Because that's just how much maintenance and how careful you need to be if you do love your ride, and you and I both know this.
Yeah.
So, but then again, when you need to do a paint correction, you need to do a paint correction. So it's always a combination of product, machine, and pad.
Right.
So these 3 needs to come together to get a beautiful paint correction done with very less aggression on the paint.
Right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, most of the cars nowadays, what's manufactured nowadays, has about a minimum of 4 layers of clear coat. So paint correction, what it basically does is thinning up microns of clear coat every time you put a buffer with heat generation and all that. So this is the reason why I wouldn't recommend unless the car actually needs a paint correction. This is why from Chemical Guys, we have a wide variety of products. I mean, our portfolio is about 750 products. We have like over 1,600 YouTube videos. Basically, it's showing how to use the product, and also tips and tricks and a little bit of secrets in the detailing industry that we share. And it's all FOC. So I think Chemical Guys was the first ever car care product brand that gave out detailing techniques FOC.
Right.
So we have plenty of detailing products, car care products that actually gets you by without having to do a paint correction unless it is highly necessary.
Thank you, Ayesh. Thank you so much. Also, you mentioned something about a black light. The only black light I know is the UV light that you use to, look for stains. So, some more about black light, please.
Black light is specifically formulated for darker shades of vehicles, and then we also do have what is called white light, which of course your Honda has it on right now. So, like I said, it's for darker shades, and the amazing thing about black light is that it has those filler properties. So even if you have minor swirls and scratches, with black light you are able to make it invisible. Basically, what we are doing is, you see a lot of pretty women out there. They're all with makeup. So black light is like the makeup that they use. In short.
Thin ice, but yes, you're right. I understand what you're saying. Right, thank you, Ayesh. Thank you so much. If any of you have any questions about detailing, about how to detail, polish, wax your car, he will answer your questions to the point where even you won't understand what you asked. So he has that much knowledge in detailing. He has excellent head on those shoulders.
Yeah, sometimes I confuse myself.
Exactly. So even after the show, if there's whatever question that you'd like to ask him in that regard, please feel free. Thank you, Ayesh. Thank you so much for your time. Ayesh has some surprises. I will call you back again later for the draw. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Right. Next up, you've heard the phrase "never meet your heroes" because they are not who they are in real life. This is actually true because I met my hero. He doesn't know this yet. I didn't tell him when I met him, but I mean, he is someone I've aspired to be. Some kids have superheroes. I had him, and a lot of us who are interested in motor racing, and I don't need to introduce him. You all know who he is. But what I'd like to say is, to me, that metaphor rang true because it was more than he was more than who I thought he was. He was an amazing human being, and he's here with us today, Mr. Malagamuwa. You know him. I do not make any better introduction. He's a man who put our name on every international racing circuit in the world, be it Spa or be it Imola. He flew a flag there, and I'm very, very, very proud, very honored to have Mr. Malagamuwa with us today. Mr. Malagamuwa, please join us. It's a pleasure, sir, and an honor. Thank you. So Mr. Dilantha is here today. He's gonna speak to all of us about his experiences in racing, and also he has a new business venture called Dilanga, which is a taxi app, and we'll speak about that in a bit as well. So Mr. Malagamuwa, the floor is yours, please.
Where should I start?
Yeah, it's a good story, yes. Actually, there are a lot of us who are inspiring racers. I mean, there are a lot of guys who joined up with go-karting and who are just starting out. And you are someone who are right now, if I may say so, at the peak of your success. So maybe about how to start, where to start, what we can do.
Okay. I was inspired by a film. When I was 14, I saw this film, Silver Dream Racer. And at that time, I was in love with cars and bikes. But that inspired me to become a racing rider. So I started my career when I was 16, and my first international race was when I was 18 in India. Actually, my parents were against my racing, so I had to sneak out, take my bike to Gurunagar station, from there to Talaimana, and then take a ferry to Rameshwaram and a road trip to Madras, and that was my first race when I was 18. And so I met this Japanese gentleman in India when I was doing this race, and I had the idea of going to Europe or to States to race because I didn't know anything about Japan, but he's the one who told me Japan is the best place for motorcycle racing. So when I came back, my father said no more racing and you're not going anywhere. But I had arguments with him for 2 years, and one fine day I thought I'm going to leave, and I sold my car, bought a one-way ticket, and with 4,000 rupees I went to Japan to start my career. So that was the start. So unfortunately, when we were young, we didn't have go-karts, circuits here, or there were hardly any place to practice, and I was from Gurunagar, so we had many difficulties, but forget about it. So I went to Japan, and it took me 2 years to buy my first motorcycle, and I started racing GP 125 and GP 250s for about 3 years, and then I had so many accidents, so then I had to stop racing bikes and I started with cars. So I started with the one make Suzuki's, which is a Suzuki Swift.
Right.
So I started with that, and then I stepped up from that to N1, and then in 1994 I won the first Japanese championship, which was the first for a non-Japanese Asian to win a championship in Japan. And then I did from Formula Toyota, Formula 3, Formula 3000, and became the first non-Japanese Asian to go to the highest level of racing doing Formula 3000. And in 1998 I was offered a seat for Formula 1, but I couldn't find sponsors, so I had to give up that. And then there was nothing else to do in single seaters, so I started doing GTs. And then I did from Porsche Carrera Cup, Aston Martins, GT 3s, then Lamborghini Super Trofeo, then European GT3 Championship. So we won in Asia, we won every championship, and it was a record. And then I moved to Europe from last year, and then we won the GT3 Championship there in the Extra Cup. And then in last year's World Finals, I was third. And so my next aim is for winning the World Championship for Sri Lanka, so it will take a few years. And I have done many endurance races like Daytona, Bathurst, Japan, the Twin Falls, which I won 3 times, Bathurst we were second, and Dubai. So I have done many, and still a lot to go, and still struggling and still learning. So in racing, I think every day we learn things, and only thing is there's nothing impossible in life. So it's all your commitment and courage, and whether you really want to do it. So most of us are in a comfort zone, so we don't want to cross those barriers. So that's why we are here. And I think if I could do it, every one of you could do it. So it's that commitment. And unfortunately, we don't get sponsors here, so you have to work yourself very hard, which I've done like 22 hours a day. I used to work. I used to live in a van for about 6 months when I went to Japan. But nothing stopped me, and I have never felt sad, never felt bad, because I had dreamed living every day with it. And I'm very proud, and I think I'm one of the happiest and the luckiest sportsman in the world, although I don't get the sponsorships, because of the love from these people in Sri Lanka, the humble Sri Lankans, because Sri Lankans are very patriotic. You will never find people like us in another world, because you won't believe, like Michael Schumacher's manager, who was, when he won the World Championship for 6 years, he was his manager, and now he's the marketing manager of Lamborghini. When he comes to Sri Lanka, when we go around, he says it's amazing because police constables wave at me, people smile at me, wave at me. He said, I've been with Michael Schumacher for 6 years, and you will never see that in Germany for him. So that's the difference of Sri Lanka. So that's what gives me spirit to win for Sri Lanka. So, I mean, now there is the best place for you to start racing is Bandara, because if you can start racing go-karts, that's the best. I mean, you can feel the kart because there's no suspension. You can feel of everything controlling the kart, and then unfortunately we don't have a circuit now in Sri Lanka yet, because even in Kattakurunda you can't get the best because they are not proper built circuits. But now what I do is once a month I go to Bandaram and we run a class, and so if you all want to learn, you can come there, or else once a month in Kattakurunda we have a class, so which is about 8 hours, and we teach you the practicals and the theory. So what you learn in Jim Russell for about 3 months, spending about 10,000 pounds, you spend about 25,000 rupees and you learn more. So I'm just doing it not to make money, for others to learn about it. So I think Sri Lankans are very talented, but the thing is, you first got to learn the basics. Without learning the basics, because unfortunately, because I've seen racing here, I've seen the racing guys here, but what they do is they spend money on the car, but not learning the techniques how to drive it. So that's what you have to learn. So now everyone is very lucky with Bandaram. I think that's the easiest place to go and learn. And you can get your timing, and you have a transponder, so you know where you're slow and all that. And if you are, I mean, even through this organization, we can organize track days and go-kart days, and I can come and we can do like every time we can go out with about 40 people, and we can have 2 sessions, 20 each. And end of the day, we can have 2 races with the qualifying, which and you might have to spend only about 15,000 rupees, so you get about 4 practice sessions, 1 qualifying and 2 races for that amount, so which you can't even imagine in a country somewhere else. So that's about it, and I think that's about my racing.
Yes, that's right. That was inspirational words right there. I mean, that's from starting from where you did to get to where you are now. those words, they are fuel to us. And like you said, the average Sri Lankan might recognize you on the road, but you didn't know us petrol heads. Whatever religion we follow, we have that religious leader, Lord Buddha or Jesus Christ or whoever it is, and a picture of you in our altars. That's how much we love you. And thank you so much for that. Also, you just started a taxi app, I do believe.
Yes.
What about that, please?
Actually, so we have started a new venture called Dilanga Taxi. So it's just like a Uber pygmy, so it works on app. So the reason I started this was also to help. There's not only motorsports, there are a lot of sports people in Sri Lanka that they cannot find funds, and there are people, they can win the world, they can be world championships. So even I find it difficult to find sponsors here. So what we have done is, this company, out of this, the 50% of the profit will go for such people and for charity, which I'm doing with Mahin. We are doing the Little Hearts project. So, and you won't believe, now we have collected 550 million, and within a year and a half. So it's cost us about 2,000 million, but so we are very close. It's all people who are middle class and lower who gives us the money. Because people who have a lot, they don't want to give away. So I mean, nothing. I'm not blaming them, but that's how it is.
That is a worldwide trend. It's not just
and
Lanka,
then we should especially say the army has donated 70 million last year. What they did was, so I brought out a slogan that let's donate 1 day of our earnings or salary to this organization. So the army, they have donated half day of their salary. I mean, protecting us, saving the country, plus they gave us 70 million. So it's really good. And so our taxi, so what we are trying to do is that's for charity, and then we want to have a lot of athletes to go and win the world. So as I said, 50% of the profits will go for that. And I know with the Sri Lanka's example, Sri Lanka will join us. And I don't think our rates are too cheaper than anyone else, because we don't want to do any undercutting which will spoil everyone's market. But we give the benefit for the drivers, and whatever we make, we are going to give it back to Sri Lanka for the benefits of Sri Lanka.
Right, Mr. Malagamuwa, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you. Please stay with us a little bit. We have a raffle draw from Tsemach. I'd like you to draw out 5 people who won their vouchers, please. If you could just pick a name. Mr. Dilantha Gunasekara. Shami Alves. Dulit Salgado. Laknath Alves. Laknath? You want something? Hurry!
Thank you very much.
Pasino?
Yes. Congratulations. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dilantha. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Next, I'd like to call upon Ayesh to give out the rest, please. There you go. Vinura? Vinura Rodrigo? Vinura is not in the country, right? Ah, sorry. There you go. Wrong Vinura. Thank you. Inoka or Inoka? Viraratna. That's. It's Tachila's mum. There you go. Lahira Gunawardana. Dina Latanayaka?
Dina Latanayaka.
Zakir Ziaz. Zakir? All right, that wraps up our show for the day. Thank you, Ayesh. Thank you very much for that. And those of you who won those vouchers, you get, I believe, a 10% discount on all that he has for sale. And do meet him and talk about it further. He'll be happy to help you. And also, before we wrap up, a few words. First of all, once again, thank you all for coming. So we'll be here next year and so on and so forth. Also, we are coming back next year very strongly with our loyalty program, and we'll have more details on that soon. By January, you should be able to join again. Many of us of you all have asked us how to join. So get back to us soon, and we will be in touch. So most likely from next year, you'll see us back with the loyalty program also. A few more words. I'd also like to thank Mr. Malagamuwa. Before I forget to thank you so much for coming. It was an inspiration and a pleasure to have you. You'll see him around as well more often, I hope. You're always welcome, sir. This flow is yours and the meet is yours always. One last thing, if you guys need any merchandise, we have some t-shirts and some stickers for sale. Please speak to any of the crew and they will help you gladly. And a very happy new year to all of you, and we will see you all again in January. Thank you.